as the business owner, as the founder, if something happens with your business's name on it, you fucked up. And that's a lesson that I'm having to learn, even when doing partnerships and relationships with outside contractors and other marketing agencies, is no matter what, if I put my name on it, if I stamp my name on it and claim that these people have been vetted, that we've gone through, that we've got a foundation that is solid, and it crumbles, it's Zack's fault. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Return on Investment MF channel. It's your host, Zack ROI Williams, and this is the information your haters don't want you to hear about: becoming the most badass version of yourself in business. What's going on, everybody? It's Zack ROI Williams back with another episode of a Return on Investment MF channel. Typically, right now is where I say I'm super excited to bring you this. This one, I'm actually kind of terrified, mainly because I'm pretty sure it's going to make my wife wet whenever she hears this, and she's going to play this back for me over and over and over. But no, for real, I wanted to talk to you guys about the importance of admitting that you fucked up. Now, this doesn't always mean like vocally or, in front of people, publicly, anything like that. You got to admit it to yourself first and foremost, obviously. You can't start fixing something unless you understand, A, that you did fuck up, and B, why you fucked up, right? I'd say this all the time on my channel, that big portion of like what I know and where my quote unquote knowledge comes from, or I guess some people would consider it wisdom once you get to a certain level, isn't necessarily what the things that they learned to do correctly. It's the things that they did incorrectly and learned from. And I want to talk to you guys about that because I fuck up a lot. Here I am putting myself out there. I am being vulnerable. I am being transparent. But some people would consider that me being put on a pedestal, right? Here I am talking into a microphone, recording it, and putting it out on the public for people to be able to make whatever, decipher whatever message they want out of it. Some people would consider that like, why do you want to, who are you to, talk and give people advice? I'm here to tell you, I'm just someone that's fucked up a lot, and I'm here to talk about it, right? And through this process, you learn to get better. You practice, right? I was talking to a young lady who, she had heard some of my story and was discussing part of her story, but she was saying it in like a negative light, like it disqualified her for being able to have a voice on specific topics. And I told her that the things that you go through, the things that happen to you, or what some of us consider for us, are what qualifies you to be able to speak on specific topics. Now, for example, not all of us, a lot of us are keen on the people that use the rags to riches story a little too loosely, or they embellish some of those truths a little bit to, make that statement a little bit bolder, right? Like for me, for example, I could be out here claiming that I came from homelessness, right? Where in fact, there was a moment in time when I woke up at a friend's house after we had, it was my DJ's house, after we had gotten done working our production company overnight. I ended up riding home with him, crashed at home on his couch, and woke up to a message, and this was like post motorcycle wreck, Zack, where they had ended up defaulting on my home, and my home ended up in foreclosure. And I woke up with a message from several hours earlier from someone on Facebook that said, "Hey bro, like I really hate to do this. I don't know what to do. But your eviction notice, or whatever it's called when they foreclose on your house," he said, "it came across my desk." He said, "So I've got, put it towards the end of the day, so to give you time to go get all your shit out and whatever you need to do," right? Well, I woke up like 3 hours after that message. By the time I got to the house, all my shit was on the porch or on the patio, and people had already gone through it and stolen a bunch of stuff. And so here's a moment in my life where I literally, the things that belonged to me were sitting on the streets. And not only were they sitting on the streets, but people had already rummaged through them and taken everything that they wanted out of it. So, me verbally saying this right now is the first time I've ever said this on this channel. And it's the first time ever I've said it in the light of admitting being homeless. And the reason is not because I'm ashamed of it. I think that's a very important part of my life. And I got a book coming out that I cannot wait for y'all to see. And my wreck is a big portion of that. But, and honestly, I don't even talk about being homeless in the book. Saying that is not a word or the way I utilize that story to project myself, so I don't talk about being homeless. And in fact, this is probably the first time that I've really conceptualized by saying it out loud. And y'all might see me kind of stumbling over my words because I'm really kind of curious on why this hasn't crossed my mind prior, on the fact that, there was a moment where life threw me curveballs to the point to where I did not have a place to call home. Now, the reason I don't say it like that is because it did not take me long to get back into somewhere where I could consider home and call home, and, moved what little property I had left. And obviously I had people, I never slept in a car. I never did any of that to the point to where I had people to protect me from that. But I don't sit here and push the fact that I was homeless and, I went on from being homeless to being a millionaire. I don't pitch that story because it's just not me. But it is a real fact. But we've all seen past that. We've all seen past those techniques, right? We've seen past everyone that's talked about the bullshit in the past. And a lot of times they'll use the past and their fuck-ups in the past, going to prison, being divorced, fucking being homeless, selling drugs, all the crazy stories. And then they move forward to where they're at, and they don't talk about the fuck-ups that they're doing now, right? I'll be the first to let you guys know that, out of the millions and millions and millions of dollars that we've made other people, and out of all the happy clients that we've had, we've fucked up quite a few. There's 2 clients right now that I'm dealing with as the recording in this video that I'm paying back because we fucked up. Extreme ownership. We talk about that a lot. Or I talk about that a lot with, from Jocko Willink and Leif Babin about, at the end of the day, it's your fuck up no matter who's responsible. If it's someone that you hired, you either hired the wrong person or you didn't train them correctly enough, right? So as the business owner, as the founder, if something happens with your business's name on it, you fucked up. And that's a lesson that I'm having to learn, even when doing partnerships and relationships with outside contractors and other marketing agencies, is no matter what, if I put my name on it, if I stamp my name on it and claim that these people have been vetted, that we've gone through, that we've got a foundation that is solid, and it crumbles, it's Zack's fault. It is officially my fault. So I'm literally paying 2 clients back right now because of problems that happen because I made a bad judgment call and I made a bad deal, and therefore here I am fixing those issues. It's not necessarily easy to talk about, but once you see that, once you start admitting first and foremost to yourself that you fucked up, that's first and foremost. A lot of people out here still believe they don't even fuck up. I could sit here all day long and blame other people, other organizations, the fucking economy, the process, this, that, whatever. Those are excuses. And y'all know me. Y'all know where I come from. You know the homies I hang out with. You know our fuck your excuses mentality. I'm telling you, there was a very, very, very critical point in my life in the last year, being involved with Apex and Ryan Stewman and the Break Free Academy and just everyone involved, where that light switch went off about fuck your excuses. In my industry specifically, and also if you're a good salesman, it's easy to fucking sell a fuck up. It is so easy to manipulate the situation and switch the narrative to an excuse, but it's all legitimate. That all makes sense. That all seems valid, but it still is a fucking excuse. And so there's a very real switch that has gone off in the last 12 months of being around Apex, of saying fuck your excuses and learning that at the end of the day, if you were to sit there and write this shit out on paper and it is in black and white, it's either yes or no. And you evaluate what the fuck you're saying to yourself in your head. And at the very end, you can say, oh, no, it's an excuse. Fuck it, bro. Get rid of it. Get rid of that mindset and learn to adapt and overcome these situations. So anyways, you know that we have this fuck your excuses mindset. And now you got to understand that when fuck ups happen, and they're going to happen. Okay. Let me stop you right here and just let you know that you are going to fuck up. I'm going to fuck up. I might fuck up tomorrow. I might fuck up later today. Maybe it's later this week. Maybe it's this coming month. Maybe it's going to be this year. Whatever the case is, I'm going to fuck up. Whether that's personally, whether that's professionally, my health, my wealth, my relationships, my finances, whatever. I'm going to fuck up. I have fucked up in the past. Now, the objective is to take those fuck ups and to learn from them and don't fuck up the same way again in the future. So I know this is kind of like beating a dead horse here in this conversation, but I'm telling you that the more and more people I'm around, the higher and higher caliber people I'm around, I'm realizing that there is a definite of two separate people. There's the people that understand that they fuck up, but they have learned not to make excuses for it, and then they adapt and overcome, and they keep moving forward. And then there's the ones that make excuses, and the reason they make excuses is because they don't believe they fucked up. They're not admitting to themselves that they fucked up. So you may or may not want to admit that you fucked up publicly. In my personal opinion, if it is something that will help someone else not make that same mistake, I would implore and encourage you to go public with it, to explain the process. And just knocked something off my desk. Sorry, guys. I would encourage you to take that step and add value to your network and let them know, hey, guys, I did A, B, and C expecting X, Y, and Z, and that is not what happened. That's not what I got. Here's the lessons that I learned from it. Here's what I'm going to do moving forward so that I don't replicate the situation, and I hope that you do the same. And if you do the same, and you find something that works, or you find yet another way of not doing it, or that it fucks up, let me know, because I would like not to make your mistakes, whatever the case is. I mean, this is, a video here. I am admitting publicly I fucked up. Something happened. Something that I need to take responsibility of, to correct. But more importantly, obviously correct it, because you always want to correct it. But the real valuable lesson here isn't me just going to bed easier at night knowing that I corrected an issue. It's also knowing that the future of the organization, the future of the company, the future of the weight on my shoulders, the feeling in my heart, and the stress and just the constant battle in my head of where did we go wrong? How did we fix it? What step moves forward is knowing that you take that information that you learned and apply it to the future so that you don't replicate the situation and go back to those same feelings. I just got off a podcast episode literally an hour and a half ago on a buddy's channel, and we kind of explained about, extreme ownership and things like that, but more importantly, like being ready to pivot, being ready to transition, being ready to adapt and overcome. And these lessons that you learn from your fuck ups will help you adapt and overcome, help you pivot, help you transition, help you metamorphosize your business to the next level. But the first step of even being able to do that is admitting that you fucked up. And again, it doesn't have to be public like this. It doesn't have to be, I'm hopefully taking this fuck up and applying it to my network to add value, to say that this is the steps that I did this wrong. This is what I wish I would have done better. And this is what I'm doing to move forward, And so I want you to take this information, and you don't have to admit it publicly, but you need to admit it to yourself, and you need to admit it to your team for sure, because you've got to learn from this. And, since I literally just mentioned it, I'll kind of go into where my fuck up was. I trusted other people that I thought were professionals, and I'm not knocking them. This was my fuck up, and it's not necessarily their fault. There was transitions that happened. There were internal team shifts that happened to where in the process, the ball didn't necessarily get passed correctly. But here's where the fuck up was. Instead of just leaving that on them as their responsibility, it should have been my responsibility following up, being aware of where that ball was, whose side of the court it was on, who was dribbling it, who was passing it from where to where, who was going to take the next shot. I should have been coaching that entire program. I should have been aware of what's going on. I should have been able to utilize that information to keep my clients updated, letting them know what step we're at, where we're going, what we're doing to remedy and fix the situation, and how we're going to be able to move forward. As you guys know, in everything that I do, there is an ROI attached, a return on investment, right? So if there's a return on investment, then there must be an investment. And if they're not getting a return, guess what? That's going to look pretty fucking bloody on that P&L. So it's my responsibility, no matter what, going back to Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, taking extreme ownership. And in part of taking extreme ownership is understanding all the moving parts and knowing where they're at. Now, how do I apply that moving forward? Well, I had to admit that I fucked up to myself. Then I had to admit that I fucked up to my team. Then I really had to admit that I fucked up to the clients. But how do we move forward? I don't want to make that mistake again. With everything that I do and going back to observing all the moving parts, I've got to make sure that I am doing what I can to move the needle for everyone associated, all the clients, all the team members, and really just the future growth of every situation. I needed backup. I needed assistance. I needed someone to be able to look behind me, to have my back, to literally go back to back. And wherever I was not looking, they were looking. So what do? We hired Big Marv. We hired a CEO. I now have a CEO to handle all the day-to-day operations. That going back to where I fucked up, where I should have had eyes, even though the ball was in someone else's court, I should have been watching it. The coach should have been watching. I should have been making sure I knew whose hands it was in, where that ball was being passed, what the next step was, who was about to take the shot, who was about to get the rebound. I should have known all that, and I didn't. But now I know that that's where I fucked up. And the only reason I know that's where I fucked up is because I admitted that I fucked up. Instead of me just making excuses saying, well, that was their fault. They should have done better. They should have had a better communication. They should have let me fucking know. Instead of saying any of that, I got to sit on that. I got to accept that. I got to know that that was my role and responsibility if I actually took these clients seriously. And understand what position they're in as a client to hire me as a professional. They expect me to operate like a professional. So, lesson learned, move forward, you pivot, learn from those mistakes, hire a CEO. So if there's one thing that I can get you to understand out of this is in order to fix anything going on in your life, personally, professionally, whatever the case is, you've got to admit that you fucked up. You have to understand, fuck your excuses. No one wants to hear it, and it sure as fuck does not help anyone. And then next, you got to build a plan to be able to move forward so that you never do that again. Now, am I saying that we're not going to fuck up, even though I've done something to fix this issue? No, we're going to fuck up again at some point. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We will learn from it. First things first, though. We'll admit that we fucked up. We'll admit it to ourselves. We'll admit it to our team. We'll admit it to our clients. We'll move forward. We'll move on. But I'm telling you guys, please, 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 if you're sitting here right now listening to this and something's in your gut, your chest is burning as you're hearing this because you're thinking about that fuck up that you did, that you keep blaming on something else, making an excuse for it, swallow your pride, sit there and understand that it's okay that you fucked up. It sucks. And it's not necessarily easy, but all you can do now is, because you can't change the past, all you can do now is adapt, overcome, and be better prepared for the future. All right, guys, my name is Zack ROI Williams. I hope you got something out of that. Share this with one of your friends. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video at all or got anything else out of it, please check out these videos over here. They're going to be right in line with what you just saw.